repeat after me the prayer for world peace. O Lord, may your hand lead us.
O Lord, may your hand lead us.
From the unreal to the real.
From the unreal to the real.
From darkness to light.
From darkness to light.
From death to immortality.
From death to immortality.
May all be happy.
May all be happy.
May all be peaceful.
May all be peaceful.
May all be enlightened and cultured.
May all be enlightened and cultured.
May all attain perfection.
May all attain perfection.
May peace be established in the three bodies of man.
May peace be established in the three bodies of man.
May peace be established in the three worlds.
May peace be established in the three worlds.
May peace be established everywhere.
May peace be established everywhere.
May truth be our religion.
May truth be our religion.
May service be our worship.
May service be our worship.
May knowledge be our breath.
May knowledge be our breath.
And most importantly, will the world be our family.
May the world be our family.
May yoga and meditation be our way.
May yoga and meditation be our way.
May our eyes see happy and noble things.
May our eyes see happy and noble things.
May our ears hear happy and truthful words.
May our ears hear happy and truthful words.
May our tongues be sweet and truthful.
May our tongues be sweet and truthful.
And let our bodies be divine instruments.
Let our bodies be divine instruments.
And may noble thoughts come from us from all corners of the universe.
May noble thoughts come to us from all corners of the universe.
May we never leave the Lord.
May we never leave the Lord.
May God never leave us.
May God never leave us.
Om peace and love.
Om peace and love.
Om peace and health.
Om peace and health.
Om peace and enlightenment.
Om peace and enlightenment.
So this prayer Mataji put together, and it has parts of various prayers that we find in the Upanishads. And our motto, truth is our religion, service is our worship, that's our motto of the ashram. And the rest of them are actually prayers that you will find in the beginning. Every Upanishad in the beginning has a specific prayer. So all of those things are coming together from various sources. So they're all traditional prayers. And whenever we in New York start any class, any teacher that comes does that prayer. And now everybody, of course, knows it by heart. And I think it's very important because two things when you say a prayer. You're coming in from out there, you've driven here. Well, it's not like New York. You drive in New York, then you run around the ashram 20 times to find a parking space, get all annoyed, then have to run to the meter to put the money in, and then run back to the car before you come in. But when you say the prayer, what happens is your mind begins to change, ready for whatever we're doing inside. And I always say, leave your feet out there, leave your shoes outside with all your worldly thoughts, and make sure you pick them up when you leave. Don't leave your worldly thoughts here. And come in and just start from fresh. Think about it as being fresh. The most important thing for us in yoga, and this is a yoga ashram, even though we have a temple, yoga Shakti. Shakti means energy. And you all know, none of you are, or maybe you are, we have energy centers in our physical body. And if those energy centers are focused and working properly, we are of good health mentally, physically, and emotionally. Okay. But that's Shakti, that's the energy. But most important is the yoga prior to that. And the meaning of yoga means for us to unite with the source. Yoga means union. Sun and moon also, yoga. And it's to unite with the source. And the only way we could possibly even consider doing that would be yoga chitta vritti nirodha, which means complete mastery of the mind waves. So any yoga practice that we do, that is the number one thing we want to do, is complete mastery over the mind waves. One of the most effective ways of the mastery over the mind waves is mindfulness. Okay? Mindfulness. With other words, making the mind full. It's called mindfulness. Being totally aware of every movement you're making is being mindful. Now, half the movements we make without our mind. And a lot of movements we make without our mind. And to be mindful, to be in the moment, into being in that particular moment is meditation, actually. So that we would start any process of meditation, you start with being mindful. So what are we talking about? Well, some of you take a shower in the morning, some of you take a shower in the evening. It doesn't matter which one. Like if you were in the shower, that's a good time to be mindful, because there's nothing else you need to be doing at that time. Okay. Feel the water running across you. See how it feels. See how be totally aware of every movement you make. Be totally aware of the sound the water is making. Be totally aware of how it is feeling on the shoulders, how it is feeling on the back. If you're washing your hair, how it's feeling there. Be totally aware of everything that is happening without, there are two conditions. Thinking about the past and how it was in the past, because every experience we have, we think we compare it to the past, and not thinking about how it's going to, I like this, maybe I should take a shower more than once a day. That's thinking about the future. No. It's being in the moment, means being absolutely focused only on this without comparison of the past and without expectation of the future. And that in itself is meditation. Because when you are in that moment, you are in your natural state. And in your natural state, every single individual has all the qualities that are needed. You all have them. We have covered them with our thoughts. Okay? And what we do in meditation and mindfulness is we excavate all the junk we have put over our true self. Oh, I called it junk, I'm sorry. But we have put too much stuff all over. Okay? So you're waving to whom?
The people that live back there,
Dylan? Okay.
Dylan and his wife.
So understand that meditation means being totally aware. Meditation means keeping the mind quiet and having it focus on one object at a time. Meditation is not getting your mind out of thinking. Meditation is very, very concentrated. And you always should have a motive or a subject to meditate on. You're not trying to make an idle mind. You're trying to focus on one object. And the easiest, we need to train ourselves to be mindful. When Vavona was here the last time, he taught mindful walking, if you were here. Who was here at the time? Mindful walking. That's another thing. How does it feel? Yesterday we walked on the grass barefooted because we wanted grounding. And you would take one step down and you would see, how does it feel at the heel? How does it feel in the middle? How does it feel in the toes? You would be so aware, and you'd be surprised on what you find. We walk, we expect it. There are so many points in the foot. That's called reflexology, and you can almost feel them happening when you become mindful. Okay, so practicing mindfulness is the first stage of meditation, and that is something that you need to do every single day. It's not that difficult. Every day you get up to brush your teeth, I hope. Okay, so what does the toothpaste feel like? What does it feel like when you brush here? What does it feel like when you brush here? What does it feel like when you brush here? Or some of you have the electric thing. What does it feel like? What does it feel like when you wash it out? How do you feel different before and after? These are all, it's just that simple. It's that simple of things that we do daily, all of a sudden to become mindful. Okay? And that I would like you to practice on a regular basis. Now, why would you want to do this? Because you have to have inspiration to do this. When we practice mindfulness, we become more aware of what is surrounding us. When we become more aware of what is surrounding us, we become aware of what not to expect, because we usually expect things a certain manner. And if the expectation is not met, we get frustrated. Being mindful means I am looking at it from a different angle. I will have no expectations. Many a time we are talking to somebody and we thought we knew them, and we expect them to behave a certain way. I know quite a few people who look at people that way, and they're not behaving that way, and you say, well, they should know better. But you're not being mindful in seeing why they are not behaving the way you want them or you think they should behave. There could be many reasons. So you understand, we are not really seeing the truth of our environment. We are projecting our expectations on it. And when we experience what we have experienced before, because we expect it to be that way. All right? You expect it to be that way, and therefore you're going to try to experience it that way, so you're not experiencing new things. That's number one. Number two, when we become mindful, we understand what our mind is doing. When you're mindless, your mind comes up with whatever it needs to be thinking about. We talked about it this morning. When your mind is idle, Mataji called the idle mind a devil's workshop. We do not keep the mind necessarily active 24/7. There are times where you are not thinking. There are times that you come to a point where you're not actively engaging the mind, but you're always thinking. But I'm talking about actively engaging the mind. You might be walking from your car to here and not actively engaging your mind because your feet know where to go. And then when you're not actively engaging your mind has to think. And so it's drawing out stuff from the subconscious. We mentioned that earlier today. And it's drawing stuff out from the subconscious, and it is repeating that stuff in the meantime. So you are not really experiencing your walk from the car to in here. You're experiencing something from somewhere else. You weren't mindful. Your mind wasn't full of what you wanted it to be. That is very important, that you don't want to bring up stuff from your subconscious mind that way. But when you sit for meditation and you sit quiet, and you have, the idea is to always have an object of meditation. You can pick a virtue, you can pick something, and have that object of meditation, then your mind goes in that direction, and you flow, and you start thinking about, if I need to be peaceful, because we need to be peaceful. If we want peace around the world, we need to be peaceful. When am I not peaceful? When somebody is cutting me off in the car and I need to go somewhere, I'm not peaceful. If things aren't going my way, I'm not peaceful. That, you start thinking about it as a way, and then with other words, you are preparing yourself for meditation. And after a while, what will happen is when the mind is so focused, you know what a laser beam sometimes can do? It can cut a groove in metal. Similarly, we will then cut a groove that the mind can flow in, or create a riverbed that the mind can flow in. And when we do that, then what happens is that not only our thoughts will go that way automatically, in other words, you have created a place for the thoughts to go, then what happens is your higher self, your intuitive self, begins to flow through and give you the answers of what or guidance of what you're trying to meditate on. Now, here's the good part. And something comes popping up all the time in between. I made the channel, and I'm not getting into that deep meditation. What comes up? Whatever comes up is what the subconscious wants to release. Isn't that beautiful? So even if you sit for meditation and you don't get into meditation, now what are you doing? You're excavating stuff out of the subconscious that need to be cleared. Because unless we are clear channels, we cannot merge with the divine or feel really good about ourselves, because the subconscious is constantly working out, sometimes for our good, sometimes not. I should be able to be aware of what my subconscious is doing when I'm interacting or when I'm going various places and so forth. Do you understand? So meditation gives you so many tools if we just would keep our mind quiet for a few minutes. So it's not just that you get the answers on what you're meditating on, because intuitively it will come down to you, and it is not while you're thinking. In meditation, your mind is not thinking. In meditation, there is you're out of mind, but you're not an empty mind. There's a big difference. You reach out of the mind. We live in more than one. We live in various places. We are not here in the brain all the time. We have the physical body, we have the astral body, we have the mental body, we have the emotional body. We have all of those, and people who can see, they can see that around you, all right? They can see it around you, and you can feel it too. You can feel the energy of another person when you come towards them, can't you? If they don't have good intention, don't you feel it like 10 miles away? You can feel it. We feel, and then we hug each other so that we can feel more of you, or we go up, so we don't feel you. Okay, so we are more than just this physical vessel. We're further apart. We're all over there is such a thing as Carillion photography that will show you what your emotions are like when you think of a certain thing. And so every time you sit down for the Carillion photography, you come out with a different color, depending upon what you're thinking about at the particular time. Because you have that at night, you go into the astral plane. So that's another plane, okay? And you have dreams, and there you experience things. And that come up from your subconscious mind. But in order to live a happy, fulfilling life and to have it the way you want it to have, you want control over your mind waves, because you also want control of what is poking you from the subconscious. We many times just respond from things that we have stored in the subconscious mind that we didn't mean to respond to. You want to be available to know who you really are, which is the subject of this weekend in all programs, who we really are. So, to really know who we are, we need to meditate. It's an absolute necessity. But that doesn't mean you need to sit cross-legged. We need to shut the mouth. We need to shut the mind and take time out to be quiet. There was one yoga teacher in Long Island, and he started a magazine. It didn't go very far. But in his first edition, he says, I learned to meditate from my mother. Every day she got up in the morning, fixed herself a cup of tea and had a cigarette and sat in silence for 15 minutes. Okay. Sat in silence. I don't want you to smoke. You can have a cup of tea, or you can take your dog for a walk, or you can, but not get up ready to jump into the world. I have to get ready for work, I have to do this, I have to do that, and you think, but know this, when you study time management, you will realize, and when they did the study, that the first moment that you wake up, the very first moment, you don't know who you are. Our mind is fast. You don't know who you are. Then you go back to the night before when you went to bed. So you go backwards and you think about that. The next stage is thinking about what you have to do today. And it can be very quick, less than a minute. Today is Tuesday, I have to go to work, and I have to get dressed, and I have the car, and the car has gas, etc. 1, 2, 3, and you're done with it. Then, after that, you sit down and keep the mind quiet. Now you know. Now, the best way, of course, to do that would be to write your list in the evening of what you have to do today so that you can get into that meditative state. When you wake up first thing in the morning, it's the hour of Brahm. It's supposed to be 3 hours before sunrise. But the trees have given you fresh energy, fresh oxygen, right? They've been very busy all night long. People haven't started running around yet. The thought waves are not there that can be interrupting you. And this is the ideal time for meditation and being silent. Ideal time is in the morning. And it's called Sattva Gun because the energy of the world facilitates meditation or contemplation or being in the moment. All right? The energy of the world, that we call it Prakriti, has a lot to do with how you feel and what you can do. When we are in the energy of work and our mind, to concentrate the mind is very difficult. It doesn't want to be quiet. It needs to go out and it needs to do, we call it Raja. It needs to do work. You need to do work. In the evening, it's called Tamagun, in which you start getting ready for sleep and the mind is sleepy. A lot of people like to meditate at that time because the mind is kind of sleepy, but that's not going to be the best meditation. Okay? People sit in the evening to meditate. It's not going to be the best meditation. But sometimes you do that. A lot of people can't even keep the mind quiet in the evening, and they use objects or food or drinks or whatever to settle down the mind to go to sleep. Meditating before going to sleep is another good practice, if you can do it, but it's not your primary practice. Rather than meditating to go to sleep, I'd rather you go into relaxation. And today, when Mokshapriya starts, she will go into meditation, and then she will use the bowls in which you can relax completely, because the mind will flow with the music. And so you can have some nice music on before you go to sleep. You will sleep beautifully when you relax the mind and get it out of Rajagun. So we are subject to the way this planet operates. Every entity on the planet, be it human, animal, or vegetable kingdom, goes through these Satyayug, Rajagun, Tamagun. Okay? And we have to work with that. So the first thing in the morning is the best place to be quiet. Make sure you have at least 15 minutes before you start your day to reflect. You might not wish to meditate, but to be in the moment, to reflect. Take that time out. And you can do that while you're doing your morning duties, like brushing teeth, showering, etc. And then sit for meditation. Okay? And it doesn't take that long. Once the mind gets used to doing something on a regular basis, it loves meditation. It loves being in the moment. The mind likes it. And if you keep doing it, the mind will say, I want that. I want it. Okay? So that's a very good thing. But primarily, then during the day, whenever you can, take a few seconds out to be mindful, being in the moment. And all of you have experienced that. Have you ever done something and you were so engrossed in doing it, you forgot what time it was, and you just kept doing it and doing it and doing it, and somebody walked into the room and you jumped up? Yeah, we all have been there. Every one of us has been there. So mindfulness is not something that you have to learn, it's just something you have to practice, because we've all been there. Okay? And you forgot you were hungry, you forgot everything, and you just were doing. It was just flowing out of you, and you weren't thinking about it, it was just happening. Okay? And that's how people who have intuitive knowledge about things, that's how it happens. And isn't that wonderful? If you can get intuitive knowledge about everything that you're doing, you'll be doing it perfectly. And then you'll be a perfect being that everybody dislikes. Okay? But that's how you learn. And when you start working on machines and you don't know what's wrong with them, that's what you do. You put your mind to it, and the machine will, all of a sudden you will know exactly what to do. Isn't that strange? That's being mindful. Okay? And if something is bothering you, be mindful. And look at it from a different point of view of not expecting from the past, up for the future, and not measuring it by past experience. So, truthfully speaking, we are never in the moment, because we are always comparing it to past experiences. Isn't that amazing? You're never here. Where are you? Good question, isn't it? You were never here. So, let's do a mindful meditation or practice. Sit up nice and straight. We'll do it with the breath. Close your eyes. This is called the Soham breath. It's a technique, it's for getting you ready for meditation. quieting the mind. Imagine, however you can, your breath flowing in through the tip of the nose, about 2 inches below, flowing in, coming to the center of the eyebrows, and flowing back out. That's how we breathe. So just become aware of your breath. Breathe in, no normal breathing. Just become aware of your breath, normal breath. Now the mind is thinking here now. Now give it something to do. As you inhale, mentally repeat the word "so" for the length of the breath. As you exhale, repeat the word "hum" for the length of your breath, a long hum. Now listen to the breath. Does it sound like "so" hum? Yes. And do not allow your mind to go anywhere else but stay with the breath. So as you inhale, hum as you exhale. Now, merge mind, breath, and sound. Hear the breath, feel the breath, and mentally repeat "so" hum. Let them become one unit. As if you couldn't breathe without all 3 items going on at the same time. If the mind goes away, gently bring it back. And the mind will go away. The mind does not like to be confined. Okay. What happened? Is your mind quiet? Took only 1 minute.
That was only a minute.
Huh?
That was only a minute?
Yeah. Don't you feel more relaxed? So where is tension in the body? Comes through the mind. Okay? You feel more relaxed. Now that's just, we can't teach you to meditate. We can't teach you to run off and go meditate. We can teach you techniques of concentration so that you can get into meditation. But I'm going to announce to you, okay, come to my class, I'm going to teach you concentration. You're never going to come. I'm going to announce, come to my class and I'll teach you meditation, you'll come. But truthfully speaking, I can only get your mind ready to meditate by concentration or mindfulness. It's the only way I can get your mind ready to meditate. So that's what you have to start doing. That's one of them. It's called a japa. Mataji has a wonderful book. We don't have it in print anymore, but we have it online. ebook, and she has 18 different ways of getting the mind into meditation. 18 different ways. And this is a japa, which it's very complex. It could go on and on. It's a beautiful thing, because that particular mantra that you're repeating, you can also go Om, which I teach in the yoga class. I teach it Om, because they don't know Soham. Soham means I am that. So that's a beautiful thing to say at the same time, because you're coming back to your real self, okay? Another technique so the mind has to come down from working very diligently, from thinking, into an alpha state. An alpha state is 7 to 14 megahertz per second. Okay? And so we have to bring the mind to an alpha state before we can even think about controlling the mind or going into meditation. And these are all techniques to bring the mind into an alpha state. There is another wonderful technique I learned that brings the mind into an alpha state, and it's called the 3 steps. Okay? Sit up straight. You can be relaxed, but when you're doing these things, you want to have your back straight. It's very important. This is where the energy flows, in the back. Okay. And if you need a chair, that's fine. You can be on a chair. You don't have to be sitting on the floor. Later on, you might like to lie down. But the problem with lying down in meditation is it's too close to sleep. And you might fall into sleep rather than meditation. So I personally cannot. I rather you sit on a chair and have a backrest. Personally cannot meditate lying down, because I know I'm going to go to sleep. Okay? That's because it's similar. So don't feel bad about sitting up or making yourself comfortable. About 45 years ago, I met the Swami that has an ashram in Rishikesh. And his entire ashram was for meditation, teaching meditation. And Rishikesh has a lot of Westerners that go there. And he was showing us how he would set them up. He would put them in a meditative, then he would put a pillow here and a pillow here and a pillow here and all over, just to get them to sit up straight for 2 hours. But he made it so that it was comfortable for 2 hours, not uncomfortable. And so be aware that if you want to sit for meditation for any length of time, you need to be comfortable, but straight. And lying is not the idea. It won't work. So find yourself a nice chair, which that chair is gorgeous for meditation. I can sit on that and meditate, no problem. And find a nice chair, put support wherever you need. It's no problem. And usually we need a little support in the lower back to keep the back straight, right? When you curl the reason we sit cross-legged right now, because age, knees, the reason we sit cross-legged is because it creates a lower back arch to keep the spine straight. Put your feet forward, what happens to the back? It rounds. When it rounds, that back gets tired because it's not normal and starts to hurt. That's why when you sit cross-legged, even because I have one knee that doesn't work too well, sit cross-legged even with one, then all of a sudden the back arches and the tailbone sticks out rather than you sitting on the tailbone and your back stops hurting, okay? And while we're talking about it, the real way of sitting cross-legged is to have the legs no wider than your hips. And usually people stretch the knees out, because try that, even if you're just overlapping them. Bring them in and see what happens to bring your knees in and see what happens to your back. In more. No, this way in.
Like this?
Yeah, but down, yeah. Over more. Yeah. See? Look at the difference in the back. You feel any different? No.
I mean, what is it?
You have more of an arch.
Oh, yeah.
Once you round the back, you get a backache. The closer the knees are to each other, the more of an arch you have, a natural arch. Do you see the difference in the back? No.
I mean, I feel an arch like this,
Yeah.
right? But if I,
Put it over more. Now what do you feel?
I don't know, I feel unbalanced. because-
Okay, that's
yeah,
because you're so used to sitting the other way, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I can see what you're saying. There's a little bit of space in between the lower back, is what you're saying?
Yeah. So that's a perfect way to sit,
Yeah.
is to have it closer by. So in when they sit cross-legged in lotus pose, the feet, the way we sit cross-legged that don't know it, the feet go in here and they you feel like they're going to you feel like you're losing, they're straining the ankle, but the feet are supposed to look overhead, and the ankle is on your thigh, and the feet are hanging out here. Yeah. If you ever look at Mataji when she is in meditation pose, the knees are close by, and the feet are hanging out here saying hello.
Yeah, most of us can't do that.
No, but you see, you can do it in that way too. That you're actually a little bit too close, but you can even do it with that without having to go into lotus. You can still bring the knees closer together. Okay. You don't, or if you can't do that, then a pillow in the lower back is needed. That's what I'm trying to say. If you cannot do that, not everybody can, then a pillow in the lower back. And even when you have a backrest, a little pillow in the lower back to bring that arch up. Because the minute I arch that back, my chest opens up and my spine is straight. All of these things, once you put the body in a proper alignment, you know what? It wants to meditate. It wants to think and have the right energy because it's set up for it, okay? So these are all little tweaks that we do in order to get us to meditate. It is definitely a discipline that you have to develop, and the more you develop it, it becomes something that you enjoy to do. It usually is, the discipline starts, you have to make it a habit. We talked about habits. This is a good habit. Get up in the morning, take time out, be quiet. Sip your tea if you have to, if you don't have much time, but think of nothing but keeping the mind focused. Taste the tea, come into an alpha state. Now, there is a beautiful technique for another technique of an alpha state. I mean, yogis have a lot of techniques. Tratak is a wonderful technique to get the mind into an alpha state, in which you look at a candle and keep the mind focused on the candle. Again, it's being in the moment. You see the candle, you feel the candle, and then after a while, you keep your eyes open as long as you possibly can. You don't blink. And then the eyes begin to tear. But what happens is that the mind gets so focused that it gets into the lower aspect, it gets into so relaxed that it's ready for meditation. And once you close your eyes, you actually see the flame right here. But if you ever observed somebody like Mataji, she would practice it anywhere, at any time when she had a minute. She would look somewhere and find a spot and go, and you would see her doing tratak on any point. It doesn't have to be a flame. She would do a tratak on any point. she'll find a point and just do a tratak on it. Because the more you practice these things during the day, we don't think about our well-being, how well-being would be if we practice mindfulness during the day. Our mind is so scattered, mindfulness doesn't come to the mind. Okay. But, like Jim and you two have been teaching yoga, you probably are doing mindful things. So, that is good. All right. Another wonderful technique that I want to teach you to get your mind into an alpha state is the 1, 2, 3, the 3, 2, 1. And when you practice these things, you can put mudras together for yourself. In this one, take your ring finger and touch it with your thumb. And the only reason we're doing that is to associate the work with this movement. This is not something you often do, put the ring finger with the thumb, okay? And so when you practice this for any length of time, all of a sudden, if you put the ring finger to the thumb, the mind will automatically go into it. So that's why we do things like that. We associate it with it. And it is 3, 2, 1. So just watch me for a minute. We're going to think about an orb coming from our soul star or a higher self or a spirit coming through the crown chakra, going to the Anya chakra as we inhale. And we're going to exhale and say the word 3 as we exhale mentally. As I exhale, see it coming out that way. However you want to see the exhale going. And we do that 3 times. Then we come down from that, and we feel that orb coming down, going into the throat chakra. It's passing through here, going to the throat. And as we exhale, we say the word 2. And then the next thing is we see the orb, or feel the orb coming down, and we say, come to the heart, going through all of them. And we say, exhale 3, 1. So it's 3, 2, 1. And then if you practice this very frequently, this is what I teach children before their test, what to concentrate. They love this because you'll see why in a minute when we do it. Okay? So, sit up. You always want to sit up straight when you do these things. Take a deep breath in and feel your spirit coming through the crown chakra to the Anya chakra. Inhale, exhale, mentally repeat the word 3. Inhale, feel it coming down, going to the Anya chakra, the center between the eyebrows. Exhale, 3. Inhale, feel that orb with your spirit in it, coming down. Or energy, whatever. Exhale, 3. Now, feel that orb or that energy flowing down through the crown, through the center of the eyebrows, all the way to the throat as you inhale. Inhale and exhale, 2. Inhale, bring it down. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Now inhale, feel the energy going through the top of your head, through the eyebrows, through the throat to the heart. Exhale, 1. Inhale, all the way to the heart. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale. 1. And now just observe the mind. Okay, what is your mind doing? It's quiet. Isn't that amazing? 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. If you do it often enough, all you have to do is say 3, 2, 1. Isn't it amazing how it clears that mind so quickly? When I somebody did that, when I learned that from somebody, only about 15 years ago, I had been practicing meditation and concentration and all of that. I was shocked on how quick that worked. And it's a wonderful technique for children. They love it because they love their mind to be quiet. If you're teaching meditation to children, if you're teaching yoga to children, when are we relaxing? When are we getting quiet? They love their mind quiet. Yeah. And this works for them. And it's a good technique to use before a study, before all of those. I teach them that technique before they take a test to relax the body. Yeah. And it's a wonderful technique. And it works very well and very quickly. But you have to practice it. And after you practice it for a while, all you have to do is close your eyes and go 1, 3, 2, 1. And it's done. And then after that, you put these fingers together and you close your eyes, you go, 3, 2, 1, without even the breath. And the mind is quiet. This is how easy it is to train the mind if we take the time out. Isn't that amazing? And most of us can't figure out how to keep our mind from going where we don't want it to go. Have you ever had that? My mind is constantly worried. It's thinking about something that I don't want to think about, and it keeps going back to that because it's bothering me. No, you can keep control. Now, in deep, deep meditation, when they examined, so we bring our mind down to the lower megahertz, not to sleep, only to alpha state. Don't go further than that, to sleep. When they measured the Zen masters, they come into what they call gamma, and that's 40 megahertz per second. Meditation is a very active state. Okay? You are not losing your mind in meditation. You are engaging the mind in meditation, in deep meditation. But you are not thinking. It's not a thought process. What is going on? What is going on in such a fast movement? What's going on is that your intuitive knowledge, your higher self, is now operating, not your mental personality. Your soul, can I say it, your soul, your higher self, your individual self, your Atma is activating, working at that particular time. Okay? And so you feel like you were out of your mind. If you know what you were meditating on and bring back knowledge, you were not really meditating. The knowledge comes back to you, and if you're meditating on something, like I meditated on at the time I meditated, it's really true that we are reincarnate. And I was meditating on that for a very long time to see if that was the truth. And then one day, I was talking to a bunch of students I was teaching, and I talked about reincarnation, and I'm going, there's no question in my mind. Where did this knowledge come from? knowledge becomes a priori during meditation. What is a priori? It sits in there. It's in there. It's not what you don't bring it back the minute you come out of meditation. It becomes part of you. The knowledge that, because it's the truth. During meditation you get the truth. Because if you look at any of the mystics of all religions, they teach exactly the same thing that we're teaching, if you look at them, okay? Because when you sit and meditate, you come to the truth, okay? So, then, so that becomes part of your nature, you just know it. Just like you experienced it and you know it. It's not a thought process, it's an experience. So in meditation, you become to experience something, and therefore you will know, just like you know you were here, you're experiencing this, there is no question about it, right? And in your memory bank, there's no question. The same thing in meditation, even though you're not thinking about it, you will experience the truth. That's interesting process, okay? But it doesn't always happen. And that's when you feel like you're not thinking in meditation and you don't know where you were, and the time goes by and you have no idea where you've been. That's what happens, and that's when you're in deeper meditation. Okay? Or you can go to what I call la-la land. When we go into meditation, we first come into the astral plane. And a lot of people see objects, colors, things like that. That is not meditation. That is quieting the mind and seeing objects, and that is in the astral plane. They are programmed more from your subconscious mind. You see those things. They're very interesting. Oh, I saw this in meditation, I saw that in meditation. That's not meditation. That, and some people go through that automatically before meditation, and just think of it like you're driving on a journey, and think of it that's your sightseeing as you go. And no, this is not where you want to stop. It's not your destination. But people stop there. You don't want to stop there. That's not your destination. Your destination is further than that. Okay. So when you come and say, well, I saw this in meditation, I saw that in meditation, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not meditation. That is you traveling around in your astral plane. Okay. That's not meditation. Meditation is cutting that groove and flowing in that groove of knowledge, and that your higher self, your soul self, will come through during that time. And so you're in direct contact with your higher self or your soul self in meditation. And that is such a beautiful thing to think about, that I can be in contact with my higher self. If I just take a few minutes every day out and shut my mind up. Sometimes I go, will you please shut up to my mind? Yeah, that is what you need to do. Every day, practice mindfulness, and that keeps the mind quiet so that you start getting into an alpha state to get yourself ready for meditation. And you have a communication with your higher self, your soul self. The soul self is connected to the divine self. And it is. We call you Atma. We call God Para Atma. Or the Atma with a big A, and you're the Atma with a small a. We're all one. And isn't it a beautiful idea to merge in a thought with that one? And that's what happens in meditation. So is that inspiring you to meditate? That's why I'm here. I'm here to inspire you to meditate. And there's so many techniques. Mataji's book is full of 19 techniques in the beginning. Bowls and music and sound is a good technique for some people it doesn't work. You have to figure out, you put on the incense so you can smell and become aware of the sense of smell. There are so many techniques to harness, I call it harnessing your mind to go towards meditation.